Hello, it's day 8 in the Big Brother house, or at least that's how it feels today. I find myself counting off the days, and and it just occurred to me that it does feel a bit like a shame I haven't have a northern accent. Actually, I could have done it a bit better. It's been a funny old day again today, full of ups and downs at the moment. I got up early. Thought, what a beautiful day, blue sky, sun shining, and got myself ready and off I went for my power walk. And I had a really lovely power walk. I'm fortunate to have some really nice wide open spaces around me. So I did a whole hour of that, got back, felt set up, invigorated. It was cold out there, but a bit of frost on the grass, but I felt really quite engaged and focused and ready to get on with my day. And I had a few little things planned, a few virtual catch-ups with some of my Tropic team and things, and a little bit of a mix-up over us meeting up on that, and was just about to divert my attentions to something else and be kind to myself again today. Had a few things, but decided that might have a nice breakfast or something, and I got a little bit of news. Not terrible news, just a bit disappointing and a little bit different to my expectations. And there it was, chain reaction, really took the news badly, felt overwhelmed by it all, and felt myself having a bit of a nosedive. And it's not how I would normally have responded. Normally I would have probably got a bit of perspective and taken it in my stride, but this is why I just wanted to say today, stress and anxiety is an area that I've focused on for many years, and there are some quite unusual and often not recognised symptoms that we experience when we're feeling a little bit in fight or flight mode, which is that primitive response. And one of those, which I was definitely aware of today, is just not being able to quite get perspective on things. Stress, I would say, is like a bucket. And it doesn't necessarily have to be emotional stress. It can be that you haven't slept very well. It can be that you've not been eating too great, or all kinds of things. Just putting yourself under pressure. That self-talk I was talking about yesterday, maybe just giving yourself a hard time, beating yourself up a little bit. These are all things that start to add into this pool, this little bucket that you've got, and can create stress. It's kind of like when your body is in demand, and not quite coping great, then it triggers that fight or flight stress response. And once you've got to a point where your bucket is quite full, then any little thing will add to that overall stress load and start to overflow. And whereas before, if the bucket was nice and empty, and you could cope with a little bit of stress, some emotional stuff, maybe a little bit of a late night, maybe not quite, burning the candle at both ends, any of these things, or some disappointments or upsets, you're okay if your bucket's empty when you start off. But if you start from a point where it's quite overwhelming and your bucket's full, then any little thing is going to trigger things to overflow, and your responses are going to not be quite so good. So I was going to say, that's for me what's happened today. Tolerance levels is one of the things that really starts to be affected, and maybe feeling a little bit like a coiled spring. These are all signs of stress. It's perfectly normal in these circumstances. And I know a lot of people are living with quite a few family members that you're not used to being in a house with 24/7. If any of your house members are behaving a little bit erratically, overreacting, being quite strange, or you're finding yourself doing that, again, just recognise that that is a symptom of the strange situation we find each other in, and just try and give them a little bit of slack and try and be kind. One of the techniques that I'm going to mention today, which I find quite helpful when I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, is to take a little bit of time out, go and find a little corner and just close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Breathing as an anchor. And I'll come back tomorrow and tell you a little bit more about that. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to cover a few sort of stress busting techniques and things that you might find are helpful for coping through this time. Now, I am wearing wild watermelon today. It's a really lovely shade. Perhaps if you're interested in any of the tropic things, what I've decided is I'm going to keep them a little bit separate. So on Linz channel, which is what I'm recording today, episode 4, I'm going to talk more about coping and my positive psychology and my experience as a therapist. And over on my Facebook closed group, I have Linz's Tropic Skincare News. You are very welcome to hop over there and put in a request to be added to that, and I will straight away put you on there. Don't ever do hard sell, as I've said before, but I am going to start gradually going through some of the more popular products and just telling you what I love about them and demonstrating them. And I'm going to pick that up probably the end of this week, and every couple of days put a few posts up so that people can get a bit more familiar and understand whether a product might be useful for you. I'm also going to start, perhaps on this channel, because I think we all need cheering up, doing some little guided facials and some, as I said, morbid fascination with a bit of makeup at times. But self-care is another really important thing when you are not feeling great. And you'll notice that although I've had another little mini meltdown today, I have put a little bit of makeup on. And for me, putting some makeup on, I've got a bright colour on, for me it's made me feel better, and focusing on doing this video and telling you all how I'm feeling, and hopefully through it helping a few people, that's also pulled me up by the bootstraps and got me back on track today. Because I got this makeup on, but there ain't nobody here but these chickens or cats. But it's made me feel a little bit more human, and yeah. That's all I have to say for today. I hope you've had a good day, and I hope you have a lovely evening. I expect you're choosing to have a nice cosy evening in tonight. I am. Take care and speak to you soon. Bye.